As long as a single game exists, a single gaming machine will always be there to overcome it. So the subject of Marvel Comics, where to even start with this subject and where even to finish in it. We could talk about the Avengers, from Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and so many other characters that were introduced to the Avengers, or even to the Marvel Universe, period. You know, we could talk about Spider-Man and his miscellaneous adventures and the ones that we know about as a child. And all the other superheroes that came out that had good moments and bad moments. Like the Fantastic Four. Why fix something that's not even broken? You're gonna do this to us? You know, we the fans, we love the Marvel Universe, and you just gonna fuck it up like this. But anyways, why would I bring up Marvel? And why did I end this while talking about the Fantastic Four? Well, that was a movie that came out with the Fantastic Four that was not as good as its first released one. Because everybody knows that when it comes to the original Fantastic Four, you know, that had, you know, like Jessica Alba as the Invisible Woman and just all of that, there was a sequel to that. And it was an enemy. I guess you could call him an enemy in that movie. And it was called The Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Big Deadpool, I know you're watching. You know where this is going. Well, there was a character in that movie that had a very interesting upbringing, per se, in the comic books. And even in other installments of different things. The Silver Surfer. Oh yeah. Known as one of the Heralds of Galactus. All people know of him as the silver shiny guy that rides on a silver surfboard. Yeah, that's why it's called the Silver Freaking Surfer. Did you know that there was a game that came out for the NES that was based around the Silver Surfer? And did you know that it's one of the hardest games ever created? One of the hardest games ever created. And it will give rage to anybody that plays it. Okay? Now, I will say this. Is Silver Surfer a bad game? Nah. Is it challenging? Yeah. It's so challenging, it will start people in a rage fit, I'd say around the third time dying in the whole game. Yeah. Here's the thing about Silver Surfer for the NES. One hit, you're dead. Yeah. I didn't stutter. I didn't stutter at all. One hit, and you're dead. You're dead as a zombie. No, even worse, you're as dead as ashes. Yeah, that's dead. That's freaking dead. So today, your friendly neighborhood gaming machine is going to be playing for you Silver Surfer for the NES. Now, I've had a lot of practice with this game. So 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to have one of the best playthroughs, you know, on my channel, or probably on YouTube. There's probably other people that have attempted, you know, Silver Surfer and probably have gone through certain different types of playthroughs. But mine, because of who I am, I'm going to be giving everybody a no damage playthrough of Silver Surfer while reviewing it for you today. So, without further ado, I think it's enough stalling, right? It's enough stalling for you. Well, let's go ahead and dig right on into it then. We're going to go right into Silver Surfer for the NES.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started in this. So, as you can tell, you know, you're playing as Marvel Comics as Silver Surfer. And you're basically going through various levels that alternate between a side-scrolling environment and an overhead perspective. Which, yeah, you know, it has its moments when it can be useful, but then it has its moments when it's an absolute thing of shite. So, each stage is divided into different sections. At the end of each section, basically a mini-boss will appear, and the Silver Surfer must shoot the main enemy, while many other enemies attack as well. These are the only times, however, where the screen will actually stop scrolling forward. The third and final section contains a supervillain from the comic book series who will take more hits to defeat. You would expect that from, you know, a main boss. But anyways, the villains that are basically in this game are Reptile, Mephisto, Firelord, Kylar, and Possessor. And there's, you know, when it comes to Kylar, you know, everybody knows that he's the Emperor of the Scroll. That's if you've read the comics like I have. But anyways, after the first set of levels are complete, you know, Galactus will appear, and he basically sends the Silver Surfer on his final mission, into what is called the Magic Domain. That's magic with a K, by the way, to collect a cosmic device, basically, from a villain whose identity is basically less than clear. Mr. Sinister, duh! But basically, you know, despite previous claims, the final boss is actually just a giant purple being with a handgun that does not appear to have been in any comics. Although, like I said, it's Mr. Sinister. You know it's Sinister. But anyways, once Silver Surfer defeats him, you know, the rest of the cosmic device is his. And he tells Galactus that no one must have access to the cosmic device and hides it for safekeeping, so it may not fall into the wrong hands. You got that? Because I'm not repeating myself. Because I've had to memorize this this storyline for a long time, and even to this day, it's like it's literally one of the most random storylines ever in a Marvel game. But it's just so weird. And I'm actually doing really, really good right now. Now, I usually take this pathway right here instead of going up, because it's not that nerve-wracking. But anyways, let me get back to what I'm saying here. The game does have a password feature that allows a number of different types of upgrades, such as invincibility, which I am not using today, because why the hell should I be using invincibility? Anyways, you know, the game has cutscenes between the levels to move the storyline ahead, and basically you can also pick the levels in whichever order you want. Very similar to a certain Blue Bomber series that people know about. The game also has additional quests. I believe it's 2 additional quests. The first is which is unlocked by entering a password that's given to you upon completing the Magic Domain mission. But I know what a lot of people came here for. And I'm going to explain it to you guys. But first off, this is the overhead view here. I hate the overhead view. This always gets me a little bit dizzy every time I play. But anyways, let me get to the main part here that people really would like to hear about. What is with the weapons? So, okay. Silver Surfer is armed with these crazy looking silver, I guess you could say they're pellets. Yeah, let's just call them silver pellets that shoot out of his hands and destroy enemies and their projectiles. But the player can collect silver spheres that serve as what's called options, because it's actually called that in the actual manual. If you ever have the manual still for Silver Surfer, the silver spheres are called options, which shoot additional pellets alongside the Silver Surfer. And basically, just with your NES controller, just press the B button and the spheres will switch positions to shoot forward, sideways, and or backwards, while the Silver Surfer continues to fire forward. But here's the thing though, here's something to remember. There are 2 different kinds of power-ups though. There's collecting the squares with the F symbol, which can make shots gradually stronger and, you know, make the shots look like fire pellets. Up to 5 can be collected before they give you what's called the bonus points instead. But when it comes to collecting the squares with the B symbol on it, it'll stock what's called screen clearing bombs, which is what is called in the manual. By using, you know, the select button, every life starts with one of these in stock. You know, so every time when you start off a mission, you'll automatically have one in stock, but you can collect more if you get the, you know, B squares. And the bad part though is, you know, when a life is lost, all spheres, power-ups, and extra bombs are lost, and they sadly must be reobtained. But this is where things get very interesting here, because of the reception of this game. Now, this game has a lot of mixed reviews, and oh my god. Okay, I'll tell you what other people have said, and then I'll get into what I think about this game. Now, this game received a lot of mixed reviews when it came out. I remember them very, very well. You know, some liked it as just a really nice side-scrolling game that shoots, while others consider it very, 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 very difficult. As, like I said before, if you get hit once, you're dead. Even, you know, the harmless things such as these weird rubber ducks, and even just touching the walls, the ceiling, and or the floor. That's where I was talking about that the game's not really that fair, because you hit anything, you're out. And I'm gonna tell you, man, oh man, the status quo for many games of this genre, you know, there was a lot of games that had this situation, but a large amount of the reviews for this game always, well, for the status quo of, you know, one hit you're dead by simply touching certain small objects, touching walls, ceilings, and the floor, most people would bring up Silver Surfer, just because Silver Surfer has one of the worst hitboxes ever in terms of getting hit by enemies. I can't stand it either. The music, though, is really good. I always like the music for Silver Surfer just because, you know, it's so retro sounding, and it's so action packed in its own different way. But I was told in a article that in April 2013 this place called Games Radar ranked Silver Surfer as the 47th worst game ever made, and that the staff didn't do justice for Silver Surfer. Okay, whatever floats your boat. But I do want to thank Zachary Danger for telling me about this article. Just thought I would tell him it, you know, call him out in this video. Now, let's get to one other thing here. What does Onyx Spade think of Silver Surfer? Now, first things first, is it the worst game ever created? No, not by a long shot. Is it unfair? Yeah, it's a very unfair game. You know, oh my lord. I've had so many rage moments with this game. But I've had more rage moments with other games, though, in my past. But when it comes to Silver Surfer, it's alright. You know, it's not a bad game. It's just an unfair game. There's a difference between a game being labeled bad, a game being labeled the worst, and a game being called unfair. You can still have a good game, but it can have unfair physics, I guess you could call it. And Silver Surfer is one of those. So, yeah, man. You know, that's the whole thing with that. And I will definitely tell you this. I love this level right here. It's really, really nicely designed. Plus, come on. You gotta love the fact that those heads things right up there, they look like little devils. And then this skull right here, man. I will say this as well. The level designs for this game were very creative. Not all of them were, though, but they're creative. Look at that. That's a pumpkin. Or you could call it a gourd, but that is a pumpkin. That's a pumpkin. See, there's an F right there, and we got a Silver Surfer token right there. So that's cool. See, this is actually one of the most interesting levels as well, in my case too, because it was nicely done, but at the same time, it's like you look at this level design and the fact that you're playing a Silver Surfer game. Doesn't it feel like something that Silver Surfer would run into, you know? But hey, gotta love that creativity, right? This is really nice though. Now, yeah, I will also shout out Bink Deadpool. He had a lot of problems with this game, and my brother, I completely feel your pain. I do. Trust me, I feel your pain really, really bad, man. Alright, there we go. Yes. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's clear the path here. Let's boogie on through. Come on, Fire Lord. Let's go. But, yeah. You know, you gotta love the different level designs, though. That music, though, is awesome. So, you know, comment question of the day. What are your thoughts on Silver Surfer? Do you think it's the worst game ever created? Or do you think it's just an unfair game? Because a lot of people really have mislabeled Silver Surfer as one of the worst games, when really it's not really one of the worst games. It's not. Yes, got the device piece, awesome. But yeah, it's like, it's not the worst game. It's just unfair. That's what I'm gonna keep calling it. But let me cut to my webcam here, and I'm going to explain another thing about this game.
Now you will notice there's a lot of different upgrades that you can get for the Silver Surfer. They're really hard for me to describe, but they help you in different ways. And also you have to be very, very precise when going in certain corridors as the Silver Surfer. And you also got to make a lot of decision making in certain levels. Like, should I stay above ground? Should I go underground? Should I shoot this enemy? Should I not shoot this enemy? That's all left to the player to decide. And because of how randomly generated it is, you don't know whether or not that route you take is going to be your downfall, or if it's going to be the best decision you've made in the game. But anyways, let's get right back into it.
Okay, now we're back, guys. We're about to deal with Possessor. Alright. As you can see, it's a space level, which is, you know, it's fitting for Silver Surfer. The Surfer. Gotta love the Surfer. But did you know that a lot of people actually do not know anything about the Silver Surfer? Like, literally, all they know of the Silver Surfer is from the second Fantastic Four movie. So, in my own knowledge, I'm actually going to tell you a little bit about the Silver Surfer. So, first things first, the Silver Surfer was introduced, shockingly, in Fantastic Four. I believe it was issue number 47? No, 48. I think it was 48, because 47 was talking about Galactus. But, basically, the Silver Surfer is a humanoid with metallic skin. Duh. Who can travel space with the aid of his surfboard-like craft. Duh. Originally a young astronomer named Norrin Rad on the planet Zen-La. How do I know this? I have a lot of Silver Surfer comics. Don't judge me. But basically, he saved his homeworld from being eaten by Galactus. And by serving as Galactus' Herald, basically, in return, Galactus gave, you know, some cosmic powers to the Silver Surfer. And Rad acquired a lot of power. You know, he got a new body, a surfboard, and not many people know this, but the Silver Surfer can travel faster than light itself. But, basically, the Silver Surfer, he roams the cosmos searching for planets for Galactus to eat. But when his travels take him to Earth, he met the Fantastic Four. I don't even need to explain who the band Fantastic Four are. You should know who they are. But in a nutshell, when he was introduced in Fantastic Four, basically Silver Surfer betrayed Galactus, and the Silver Surfer saved Earth, but sadly was, I guess you could say the word would be exiled. He was exiled to Earth as punishment, which was really, really sad. But you know, what you gonna do? So what else do I know about Silver Surfer? Well, of course there was a lot of different adaptations of the Silver Surfer. But I want to talk about his abilities, his powers. Because not many people know about the powers of the Silver Surfer. You know, they always disregard the Silver Surfer as being weak. Oh, no. Silver Surfer's far from that. Silver Surfer wields what's called the Power Cosmic. And it gives him superhuman strength, superhuman senses, superhuman endurance. And he can also absorb and manipulate ambient energy in the universe. But the Silver Surfer can also navigate through space. Yes, but did you know he can also travel through hyperspace? Which means he exceeds the speed of light. Which that is absolutely awesome. And he has proven capable of time travel as well. But he doesn't really time travel that much in the comics, but he does time travel some. But the Silver Surfer, he sustains himself by converting matter into energy. So he doesn't need food, water, air, or even sleep. Which puts him much better than a lot of Marvel superheroes you would see. That means he never gets tired. He does, however, was shown to have fatigue. Like, he can get fatigue, but rarely. But anyways, you know, by the way, I'm doing really good right now. This is awesome. But anyways, he can literally survive any natural environment. You know, he can survive in deep space. He can even survive in black holes. Black holes. Can you believe that? Also, what is it? He can also utilize the Power Cosmic to augment his superhuman strength. Like, he can literally do things that not other superheroes can do. If you want to call him a superhero, I consider the Silver Surfer as a neutral hero. He's not bad, he's not good, he's just doing what he needs to be done. But the Silver Surfer, he can actually heal, you know, living organisms, but he cannot raise the dead. Thank God. But he has proven capable of revitalizing and evolving organic life, though. So that's pretty cool. In some comics, he's been able to cast illusions, so that's pretty cool. Trying to think here while I play this for you. He also has telepathic abilities. He's able to mind read, but not all the time. If he runs into a being like someone from the X-Men that can block their thoughts, he can't read their thoughts. He just can't break through. I guess you could say it's kind of like he just has basic telepathic ability. But he has been able to, you know, influence people's emotions and sensations. Don't ask me how I know that. The Surfer's bored, though. It's literally impervious. It's cosmically powered, and it's similar to his own skin. I mean, that's why it's called the Silver Surfer. But the board is mentally linked to the Surfer, though, and he moves in response to his mental commands, even when he's not in physical contact with the board. The board is actually nearly indestructible, but there are rare occasions where it has been damaged or even destroyed. But the Surfer can repair it, and he can even recreate it. Like, the surfboard, if it's been destroyed or damaged in one way, if he was to fix it, it could never be damaged or destroyed that same way. It's kind of like the whole feel of Doomsday, I guess, but we're talking about a surfboard. A surfboard, yeah. But the Surfer, he can attack opponents remotely by directing the board against them, and the board is also capable of absorbing and imprisoning other beings. Temporarily, though, but it's been done. But as I said before, when he met the Fantastic Four and he went against Galactus's orders and betrayed Galactus, remember I told you he was exiled. So when Galactus exiled the Silver Surfer to Earth, his means of imprisonment was linked to the board. So when the Surfer and the Fantastic Four realized this, basically the Silver Surfer put it to the test by leaving the board planet-side and entering space in the Fantastic Four's spacecraft. Once he was free of Earth, the Surfer remotely converted the board to energy, recalled it to him, and he reformed it in space. That also shows that, you know, the scientist side of Silver Surfer, because remember, he was originally a scientist. So that's pretty cool. But as I said before, you know, the Silver Surfer's real name is Norrin Radd, and he possesses a lot of knowledge. I guess you could say it's just advanced alien technology knowledge, because, you know, he was on the planet Zenla. But the Silver Surfer has actually shown rare occurrences where he actually shed his silver skin to revert to his original appearance. He even masks the power cosmic and allows him to be more inconspicuous, where he's able to eat and sleep. So basically, in a nutshell, everybody, Silver Surfer can switch between being the Surfer and just being Norrin Radd. He can switch between being a human, well, he's not really human, but he's a humanoid. But he can switch between his old self and his new self. So that's kind of cool. You know, that was always cool. But there was other versions of the Silver Surfer. I don't know too much about the different versions, but I know a few. Especially the Exiles, because when it came to the Fantastic Four thing about him being exiled to Earth, that made me want to research it when I was a kid. So basically, what I do know of is basically the Exiles on Earth 552, which I actually have some of the comics for that, actually. God, it sounds... I hate that sound so much. But basically, you know, on Earth 552, Norrin Radd was a military scientist who literally destroyed his own world with his invention. And he was so motivated to fixing it that he approached Galactus, also known as Restorer of Worlds, and became Galactus Herald so he could resurrect his world in exchange for his service. However, Galactus had taken an oath to only revive worlds destroyed by what was called the Blight. But, you know, when that happened, the Silver Surfer basically turned against his master, destroying those who worshipped Galactus and attempted to kill Galactus himself in order to steal the knowledge of world restoration. But sadly, this led to the destruction of Earth, the coming of the Exiles, and the deaths of the She-Ra, or well, I call it She-Ra, but it's Shi'ar or whatever. I can never fully pronounce that name, but it was basically the Imperial Elite Guard, and inevitably the Silver Surfer ended up getting killed by a cosmically powered Sabretooth. Yeah. Can you freaking believe that? Can you believe that? That's absolutely freaking crazy. But there was also one instance where Silver Surfer was also in the feel of like a Green Lantern. Now I bet people are going to be wondering how is this possible? Because, you know, Silver Surfer is part of the yeah, I know. So let me tell you about this one. There was something that was called Green Lantern Silver Surfer, where basically the Silver Surfer confronts Cyborg Superman over the destruction of a planet that is met by parallax. Parallax beats the cyborg, but the Silver Surfer lets him go and tries to sympathize with Parallax. The two return to Earth and basically find Kyle Rayner with Thanos, leading them to believe that they formed an alliance when in reality Thanos actually tricked Kyle. Kyle convinced the Surfer basically to help him stop Parallax and Thanos from destroying the universe, and he was duped into giving Thanos Oa's power, which that's just plain bad. And then the Surfer similarly gave most of his power to Parallax to reform the destroyed planet, forcing Kyle to use his ring to drain both villains of their enhanced powers before they can, destroy everything. But, unable to contain the power himself, Kyle channeled the power from the two villains into the Silver Surfer, who opened a portal to suck the two inside. Yeah. And then there was some what-if storylines. I actually own these comics as well. There was, the, what was it? There was the issue of What If that revolved around Carnage, where basically Carnage became Cosmic Carnage, and where basically the Carnage symbiote remained bonded to the Surfer. So that was an interesting one. There was another What If that I own that is called What If the Silver Surfer Possessed the Infinity Gauntlet. That was amazing. And then there was another one that I'm still trying to get where it had to deal with Atlantis. That was a What If. But I can never find those. But yeah, I know a whole lot about the Surfer. I really do. It's absolutely crazy. Yep, and there's Galactus's head telling me, well done. No, it's time to go to the magic domain. Oh yeah. I'll get back to talking in a minute. It's Mr. Sinister! But anyways, there was also a television show for Silver Surfer. Basically, it was in 1998. The Silver Surfer was in a solo animated series, and it actually came on Fox, which was pretty cool. Basically, the series was basically in the style of creator Jack Kirby, which was really good. A lot of the adventures included appearances by other Marvel characters too, like Thanos, the Watcher, Ego the Living Planet, Drax the Destroyer. There was a lot of other more people, but sadly though it was canceled after 13 episodes, which I felt bad about that. Also, I do remember this as well. Silver Surfer also appeared in Hulk and the Agents of Smash. He was actually voiced by Brent Spiner, which actually does the voice of well, not the voice, but he actually played Data on Star Trek Next Generation. So I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, there's the films, of course, of, the Silver Surfer, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yeah, I know. It was alright, yeah, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. But I want to get back to the game. Let's get right back to the game, though. So the Silver Surfer video game, it was created by a company called Software Creations, and it was on the NES. It came out in 1990. And as I said before, it's an unfair game. And it has a really big difficulty, of course, yes, but what you gonna do, right? But yeah, we're still in the magic domain here. We're doing the overhead view here. This was always a part here that creeped me out. Look at all those mouths there. That's kind of creepy. That was always creepy when I was a kid. It was that part there. Okay, gotta be careful here. Alright, there we go. But yeah, I know I'm talking a lot about this game. I know. I know a lot about this game. A whole lot, and I know a whole lot more than most people would know. God, it's so creepy. I'm coming for you, Sinister. You're gonna taste my surfboard. Surfboard. I don't know why I'm thinking about that song from Beyonce. Forget surfboard. Oh God. That's a sin. I shouldn't even be doing that. God, those mouths, man. That's so creepy. I'd say there is something that is creepier, which is the Gygas Earthbound boss. That was creepy, but this is creepy too in terms of NES. I mean, how would you feel if you're doing a stage and like part of the stage has like really big faces on it, like that right there, and some parts that have just like nothing but mouths? I mean, wouldn't you be kind of like, what the hell? You know, like, come on now. Like, that's freaking fucked up, you know. But we're getting close to the end here. Actually, this was really good. I actually took no damage. That's really, really good. Alright. Let's get rid of this thing. Alright. There we go. Alright. Sector 3. Let's do it. And we're back to the side scrolling. Now this is another level design I like here. I need that. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Ooh, come on, bro. Yeah. If you look in the bottom where the face silhouettes are, look at Sinister's little freaking smile he's giving. He's like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Blah. Had to do that little Dracula reference. I will say this though, Mr. Sinister was an interesting character in the X-Men. You know, that was really weird. These are weird here. God, that looks so creepy. Go away. There we go. Okay, but yeah, the only reason that I make this game look good is just simply because this is I've just had a lot of trial and error with it. This is a very hard game. Oh God, no. Oh God, no. No, 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 no. No. Now people have actually dubbed that this is actually Mr. Sinister, but I digress on that. It's not. That looks nothing like Mr. Sinister. This just looks like a giant purple blob with a gun. And he's actually not that hard. This guy right here has got to be one of the easiest enemies in this game. Come here, boy. Come on. You're almost out. Oh, he's getting faster. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I said no. I said no. You need to die. You need to die. You need to go to die. Go to die. Go to die. Switch it up. No. No. There we go. We got that bastard. Okay. That was weird. That was awesome. That was awesome. Yep, and that's the whole device right there. But anyways, yeah, I think it's time to cut the gameplay here and go ahead and end this episode. I mean, how's that sound? But yeah, that's basically Silver Surfer, guys.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching this episode of Onyx The Gaming Machine. If you enjoyed what you saw today, click that like button right there and leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've ever played Silver Surfer and what were your critical thoughts on this NES game. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video.